Welcome to a look at the best women's judo action from day one and day two of the 2022 Tel Aviv Grand Slam. So it really was a tournament with plenty of sode-tsurikomi-goshi. I had to cut down on the amount of clips used in this just because there were so many sode-tsurikomi-goshis. Let's have a look at the best ashiwaza combinations of the day. So here is Pupp Reka of Hungary, who took bronze in the under 52 kilo class on day one. Beautiful uchi-mata entry, heavy kazushi. The opponent had all her weight going onto the back legs, so it was an easy job for her to turn back into her opponent, take out that leg with an ouchi-gari for an ippon victory and golden score. Here is another great ashiwaza combination. We have a koshi-gari, and the opponent fleeing backwards gets caught with the uchi-gari. Once again, it was the initial attack that really set up everything, and small uchi-gari was enough to result in a big ippon for Gneto. This was the gold medal match of the under 52 kilo class. We'll have a look at her opponent Takeda, who did some impressive tachiwaza and newaza attacks in other matches later on in this video. Next, we'll have a look at the wildest match of the tournament. So Lanir came out at the start of this one as though she was a waza-ari down in the final 30 seconds. Came right for her opponent, immediately got thrown, almost caught her in a ude-gatame. And this is immediately after she came forward once more, almost got caught for another waza-ari. And then in the next section of the match, she resorted to less aggressive tactics, but she got caught with a big ippon, and the match was all over in under a minute of very aggressive judo. And here's a look at Bellandi's matchup in the bronze medal match of the under 78 kilos against Steenhuis. There was a beautiful seionage against strong surete grip, strong lapel grip, and the video ref, of course, corrected this as a waza-ari, not ippon. So the match continued, and another beautiful throw by Bellandi. So the Italian girls really put on a big show this weekend. The Japanese girls, the French girls may have picked up the gold medals. It was the Italians that are the real stars of this video. It's a bit easier for the 78 kilo girls to do the high fives after the match than the girls from the under 48s, isn't it? We'll have a look at Milani of Italy in the under 48 kilo class and a great Tai-otoshi she did a little later on in this video. And you can let me know in the comments which girl you think had the greatest Tai-otoshi. Next up, we're going to look at some more action from day three in the under 78 kilo class. That last clip was Turchyn from the Ukraine scoring with a kosoto-gari. And then in her next match, Turchyn would be injured by this Tai-otoshi from Sampaio of Portugal. But a very nice display of sportsmanship in assisting her injured opponent after this match. Later in this video, we'll see things get a little bit more unsportsmanly. So Sampaio went through to the bronze medal match and picked up a win by ippon. And we had probably the best celebration of the tournament with the way she steps off the mat, gives her coach a big bear hug, probably got a shido for doing so, but I enjoyed it. Now let's have a look at Milani's Tai-otoshi. This is from day one, the under 48s. Who do you think hit it better, Milani or Bellandi from earlier. Now we have I think it's an ashi-garuma into sankaku-jime. So this one's actually more of a shoulder lock submission, which is technically illegal. So she doesn't actually lock the triangle directly over the shoulder and neck. The opponent's arm was trapped inside, so she submitted as there was some pressure on the shoulder and walked away with a little bit of an injury. Milani went to the final and she faced Boukli in the final. Here's a look at Boukli's first match, which she won by koshi-guruma. Now we'll have a look at the match with Milani in the final. Boukli won by waza-ari for this kosoto-gari. A lot of the throws in this video come out of these situations where a judoka is controlling one sleeve of the other judoka and is able to launch into an attack off of that. Here's the best uchi-mata of the day, that's Rafaela Silva. And Silva would then lose in the second round, I believe it was, to Levy of Israel. The Israeli girls didn't really give the home crowd a lot to scream about in this tournament. The Israeli men picked up some medals. I'm not sure if Israel actually won any. I think they might have got a bronze in the super heavyweights. Now here's a slap to the face. So earlier you saw a crossface against the turtle, and in the next section of the match things got wild. There's the right hand that connected right across the face of the girl in white. You can actually see the girl in white herself was also swinging her right hand at the same time. The Italian did a pretty good job, maybe watching a bit of Rocky Balboa, to slip that right hand and come back with one of her own. And this ended with a disqualification for the slap to the face. Now here is some more sode-tsurikomi-goshi action. So you saw Giulia winning an early round match with sode-tsurikomi-goshi, and she landed a big one in the bronze medal match to defeat Primo of Israel. No doubt disappointing the home crowd. So in a moment we'll have a look at time in the tournament where the sode-tsurikomi-goshi just didn't work for Giulia in her match against Ryoko Takeda. This was late in golden score. Giulia was trying to stay aggressive in order to force Takeda into receiving a third shido, but she made a mistake, lost control of the grip, and Takeda is very good at newaza and was able to finish with an ude-gatame, basically a straight elbow lock for a submission win. More from Ryoko Takeda coming up later in the video. Now here's an unusual penalty situation. There's a penalty for reverse seionage, even though it looks like she's holding the sleeve. Now reverse seionage, of course, is two grips on the collar, not a grip on the collar and sleeve. Later, this girl received a minor injury from a sode-tsurikomi-goshi, but was able to continue the match. And the next section of the video is basically a collection of sode-tsurikomi-goshis. Here's Priscilla Gneto. She's the sister of Astride Gneto, who you saw earlier in the video. Gneto won the under 57 kilo category. That's Nikolic hitting sode-tsurikomi-goshi on Julia Figueroa, who you saw right at the beginning of this video in the bronze medal match. Now Nikolic was disqualified in her match against Milani for an illegal joint lock, basically a uchi-gatame. Would have been nice to see it from another angle. Now here's the best sumi-gaishi of the day by Levy. Tried to go into a uchi-gatame, but in this case Lemos was able to defend against the uchi-gatame attempt in a moment we'll see Lemos in a much more dangerous uchi-gatame situation that doesn't end as nicely for her. So she won that one by kosoto-gari and then faced Podolak of Poland. This uchi-gatame came on fast, it came on strong, and it did some damage. One of the videos I put out after the Paris Grand Slam showed a lot of uchi-gatames by Polish girls at that event. So it was nice to see a new face, Podolak, providing another uchi-gatame highlight for the Poland team. A little bit unfortunate that Lemos had to suffer. Next clip we'll be looking at is Podolak's kouchi-gari. Very nice kouchi-gari. Ippon win there. Now, Podolak again. Now, who gets hansoku make for head diving in this clip? So we saw both girls' head hit the mat, and it's Podolak who receives the disqualification. So Podolak threw her opponent with a two-handed sode-tsurikomi-goshi. Usually if someone's head hits the mat off of a two-handed sode-tsurikomi-goshi, they are not disqualified as they had no way to defend themselves. Here's a look at the best match of the day. So this is from day one, under 48 kilo class. We saw Scuto score in the first minute of the match with a nice drop seionage, and Bavudorj did a nice cartwheel using her head to avoid ippon but received waza-ari. Bavudorj came back with some uchi-gatame attacks, but Scuto of Italy is a pretty strong newaza player and was able to escape some of these uchi-gatame attacks. I think this is from the last minute of the regulation period. Bavudorj finally comes back, gets a waza-ari on the board, so it's one score apiece. So this one looked like it was heading into golden score. Scuto tried to apply some pressure to get an osai-komi win. Bavudorj was able to counter her, and in the golden score period we had a nice cartwheel escape to block that Ryoko Tomoenage. But Bavudorj came back and found a creative way. She went uchi-mata to Ryoko Tomoenage. One of my favorite channels on YouTube for learning judo is Judo Yokohama. They did a video on uchimata to Ryoko Tomoenage about a month ago and why it's such a surprising combination. Here's the best ouchi-gari of Kaleta. Now, ouchi-gari is often countered by ukiwaza. So the next clip we're going to have a look at is ouchi-gari versus ukiwaza. Who gets the score? Giuffrida of Italy in the white throws with ouchi-gari. Opponent tries to counter with ukiwaza, but the score is awarded to the Italian. Now, here's Ryoko Takeda once again. Takeda does an amazing job of knocking her opponents to the ground without taking grips. So twice in this match against Perez of Spain, she was able to knock her to the floor without gripping. If you go back and look at these clips again, you can see that she does a little stutter step to move into position. And she ended up winning this one by kata-gatame. There were two kata-gatame wins at this tournament, and we can see the two styles of kata-gatame. Ryoko Takeda keeping the pressure very high up on the opponent's body and circling towards the head to avoid giving the opponent an opportunity to bridge. The other kata-gatame you saw a little bit different. You go in under the shoulder. If you're interested in learning more about that, I recommend a video, I think it's called Turn Pin, that I made a few months ago. It goes over things like kata-gatame and ashi sankaku and some other types of turnovers used in judo and wrestling. Now, most flexible spine. Have a look at this one. So this girl is turned almost 180 degrees, and her hips, she's still belly down to the mat while her shoulders are basically on the mat. Unbelievable flexibility. Didn't help her. Ouchi-gari was called, and her opponent was able to pass this half guard attempt very easily and win by ouchi-gari. If you're interested in seeing me do a video on flexible judoka and their newaza, let me know. I've thought about doing a video on that subject. Often it ends up badly for them in this situation, but sometimes they pull off some nice escapes. And they also have some nice ways of doing ude-gatame that a less flexible person like myself are unable to do. Now we're looking at Bohm of Germany. She does a nice turnover. She did it twice in this tournament. It's basically the same thing. She wraps up the arm, turns them, pins them. And last clip for today, we've got a gift wrap. Often we see this position used in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a way of getting to the opponent's back. She locks the opponent's arm around her own head, then takes control of it with the other arm. Of course, in judo, there isn't a lot of value in going to the opponent's back from this position, but she's able to use it to pass the half guard by going across and moving into ude-gatame. So no more Judo Grand Slams for a few weeks, but I'm still going to have more videos up on this channel. There was a request in the comments for a video on Anastasia Konkina. You're actually in luck, because one of the videos I've got half finished at the moment did include a look at 2 ippons involving her.